Devotion alone won't make a true father by David Fulmer. The Atlanta Journal and Constitution, June 21st, 1998. Father's Day. It's late at night, and from my desk I hear you murmur and sigh as you drift through one of your sweet little dreams. By the time you read and understand this, we will be far down the road, miles and years into the journey that began 2 years ago with your birth. It was a twist of fate that brought you into my life, and now I can't imagine my world without you in it. We're on a curious road, you and I, a magical mystery tour made up of one dizzying turn after another. You're happy, and so am I, sometimes half crazy with the joy of having you. But my journey is also tainted with worry, desperation, even panic as I try to get my part right. Nothing I ever do will mean as much. So, in these quiet minutes, I go searching for the well of knowledge, the book of wisdom, the place where someone has scratched in the sand the instructions for being a good father. I learned the mechanics of the position early on. That was easy for me, an instinct. I know how to attend to your needs, guard you from the dangers outside our door, make it better when you're feeling bad. I know I'll never do some of these things as well as your mother with her nurturing spirit, but I do all right. Loving you is automatic, but love alone won't make me a true father. It should be simple. My job is to protect you, fill your world with love, teach you what is right and what is not, give you a beginning, the task of every father everywhere. And after all these tens of thousands of years, you'd think we'd have it figured out. Not so. Too often fathers are guilty as charged. Too often they desert their children, condemn them to poverty, and abuse them without mercy, leaving their sons with no good path to follow, and their daughters wondering if all men are like that. Still, I believe that most fathers struggle, as I do, to master the rules of the road. The bookstores devote whole sections to the topic, with row upon row of well-intentioned missives full of earnest advice from experts in the field and celebrities of all stripes. All well and good, I suppose, but I'm looking for deeper clues. It comes as no surprise that those in public life often offer lousy examples and total contradictions. Bill Clinton, who is president as I write this, has such gaping holes in his character that he might end up destroying his career. And yet he always displayed the marks of a good father. Richard Nixon, who, until Trump came along, was posed to go down in history as the most venal and corrupt creature ever to inhabit the Oval Office, earned unwavering devotion from his daughters. On the other hand, Ronald Reagan, that walking, talking, technicolor standard-bearer of traditional American values, had only a distant relationship with his children and barely knew his grandchildren. So I can forget about most of those with a hunger for the public eye. They inhabit a different place, and the lessons they offer are few. I could look to friends who are fathers, true, but I suspect that our history, yours and mine, is where the truth lies. As you grow up, you might get tired of hearing me repeat the story of your great-grandfather coming to this country as he told it to me and his other grandchildren in his Sicilian dialect, which we could barely grasp, and with his grand operatic gestures, which we understood perfectly. I think of him and am humbled. Could I have done it? Would I have done it? Poor as dirt, he crossed a wide ocean with his pregnant, terrified child bride, seeking escape from a hopeless fate. He made that journey so that his children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren would have a chance at something better, would not have to go into a sulfur mine as he did at the age of 14. His courage, and that of so many others, was so enormous that you are named Italia in their honor. But would Luigi Prizzi reflect on being a good father? I doubt that he ever pondered it. Certainly he would not have couched it in words about a parent's love. he would not have taken pause to muse on the meaning of his long trek. He was a simple man with simple ideas, and he had simply done what had to be done. But he was one of many. Mario Puzo recognized this when Lucia Santa, the main character in his novel The Fortunate Pilgrim, reflects on the failings of her own son. Quote, Lorenzo would never be a real man, as the peasant fathers on 10th Avenue, as her father in Italy had been a real man. Husbands, protectors of children, creators of their own worlds, acceptors of life and fate, who allowed themselves to be turned to stone to provide the rock upon which their families stood. Your grandfather, my dad, was a different kind of hero. His father disappeared when he was 4 years old, and he grew up during the Depression, was a Marine in a world war, and managed the challenges of raising a troublesome son during tumultuous times. And somehow learned the secrets that I now seek with nothing but fierce love and a dogged determination to see it through. The only time he ever hit me, really hit me, was when I was 13 and I had broken his heart by lying to his face. I deserved it, but he was the one crying. So, what's left? To take a hard look inside, because I can't afford to just ignore my failings anymore. There is too much at stake for both of us. Not that I could, even if I wanted to, because you are my mirror, and the best and worst of what I am is reflected in your small, beautiful face. I admit that I have not done many things well in my life, but now that you're here, it's time to change and become something else, your father. To do this right, whatever that means, knowing full well that no one can tell me how to be a good one. It's blind faith and stumbling guesswork at best. I know that this is only the beginning and that the road ahead will be hard. But I also know that the precious moments that we had yesterday and the precious moments we'll have today and tomorrow will be our stepping stones. Some are gifts. Others will have to be earned. So I have a lot of work to do. There are times when I feel I'm drowning in my fears for you, a soul-deep terror that I can't give you what you need and that I'll never get it right. But then I look at you and see something in your eyes, a strange wisdom and an infinite patience born of the river of life and flowing through 1,000 generations as you wait for me to learn my lessons.